Hello everyone, and welcome to my studio. Now that we've covered drawing, let's get into value. Value is, if you've taken any art class, you'll know that any artist, any teacher, any instructor will stress value. And just like anything else, someone tells you that there's a way to do it and you think you can outsmart them. I tried to outsmart value for years and you can't outsmart it. All I can say is you need to learn value as soon as possible, the best that you can. Because as you learn value, all the doors are unlocked and you control your painting, you control the artist that you want to be, I believe, when you control value. And couple that with drawing, and I think the sky's the limit. So those are the two first lectures that I'd like to discuss. So what I've put up here is my checklist. So let's talk about with value. First of all, I want to let you know the day I understood value was the day I had the most improvement in my painting. And it didn't fully happen in art school. It happened years later. So if you can get it now, that's wonderful. So there's a saying, I wish I knew who I'm quoting. It's not mine. It says, value does the heavy lifting and color gets all the credit. And I think that's so true, that we really enjoy a painting for its color, but it's the value is what we're really appreciating. So I have some good news and some bad news. The bad news is if you think value is easy, it's probably harder than you think. The good news is if you think value is hard, it's probably easier than you think. And I know you might think, well, that's a complete contradiction in terms, but it actually works out that way. It's like, oh, I can't get this, I can't understand value, I can't see it, I go outside and I can't understand that. But no, if you just work on it with some instruction, and I'm going to give you the knowledge I have, and then work on it, it can come to you much quicker. And of course, do a demonstration on how to see things and understand it. And it, like everything else, it just takes brush mileage. But with understanding, at least you're going off in the right direction. So let's start with this. Checklist. When I start a painting, when I'm outside or in my studio, this is the beginning of my checklist. And up until number 9 is all to do with value. It can have color involved, but value is really going to be the one that is going to push you in the right direction. So we're going to go through these concepts and help you with your own checklist. I don't want to give formula painting. That's not my goal. Because what I do and what I believe is the best way to become the best artist that you can be, to be able to do everything you want in art, is to be observational. And that means if you have the foundation right, you can observe something and translate it into art. If you're formulaic, then you're going to be the second best of somebody else because you're going to be following somebody else's formula. For me, it's a reaction, putting in the time to understand how to get to a good painting. So with that said, let's get into this. My checklist. First thing I see is I need to define a shape. What is that shape? Is it a circle? Is it a square? No. Is it a tree? One of the trees I was painting before on the coast. What is the shape? So we first need to define that. Once we define the shape, let's say it's a sphere, we next need to find the light direction. Okay, so once I see that, I see the light direction, I then can define light from shadow. So in this case, I can say, okay, this is the light side of the sphere, and it's being cast. So with this, I've picked my light direction, and I've defined light from shadow. So now I'm on my third thing on the checklist if I was looking at a scene like this. So then I identify my lightest light and maybe identify my darkest dark. Okay, maybe where this tucks in, I'm going to have my darkest dark. So I've defined my shape, I've picked the light direction, I've defined light and shadow, identify my lightest light, identify my darkest dark. Is the light direct or ambient? So then I decide, is the light direct or ambient? If it's direct, we're talking about spotlight, sunlit day. If it's ambient, we're talking about a cloudy day. And what this will do is this is going to affect these shadows. Okay? As we're talking about these shadows, I'm going to get into this later in types of shadows, but what it will do, just real quickly, and we'll review because it's such an important point, is the type of shadow will either be soft or sharp. In this particular case, I kind of have it ambiguous, so let's make sure it's not ambiguous. Let's say it's direct light, then we are going to have that shadow is going to be somewhere softer, okay? This is really rough, but it's getting the idea across, okay? Where's the sharpest edge? Can you see right here? And let's actually get rid of back there because that's in the distance, so we definitely don't want this to read as our sharpest edge, which we'll get into atmospheric perspective later. I would say my sharpest edge is along here, where these values have the most contrast, okay? We need to do that. When I'm painting and I see a scene, I need to go through these 8 questions before I ever get to the last question on this, which now directs us towards color, which is where's the strongest saturation, which we'll get into in the next lecture. So I want to let you know this is, among other reasons, which we'll see in design and understanding your entire picture and your composition, the first steps of anything I do in a painting has to follow this, has to understand value. Define the shape, light direction, define light and shadow, identify the lightest light, identify the darkest dark. Is the light direct or ambient? And where is the sharpest edge? Okay? Now that might seem like a lot. You're like, wow, I'm juggling enough, trying to draw and trying to figure things out. You'll be surprised that these are happening. Once you get used to that checklist, I'm not going through a checklist. It's just happening. You know, it's the type of thing that when you're outside painting, that you will ask yourself, is it sunny or cloudy? It's like, that's the first thing that goes through your head maybe when you're painting outside. Oh, it's cloudy. These questions will eventually be second nature to you. But in the meantime, if you don't think they are, rewrite what I have, type it out, print it out, and put it next to your easel. Put it next to your computer. Right away, put those up there and just look at it until it gets ingrained. Just take a look and say, okay, great, I need to do this. Oh, okay, I did that. Now I need to do this. Go through that.